everybody, Invisiblekatana here. Happy New Year, of course. Welcome to 2026. And today we are discussing the games we're looking forward to for 2026. Now, the game I'm kicking things off with, I'm actually not looking forward to. And I wanted to do this because as I was thinking about this episode, I was like, you know what? If I don't mention this game, people are going to find it weird that I didn't talk about it at all. So I have to reference it because I have to know why I'm not talking about it, at least as far as excitement. That game is GTA 6. I'm just not interested. I just don't care. Honestly, I don't think I could possibly care less right now about GTA 6. I got no issue with GTA. You know, of course, when it comes out, it's going to make $1 quadrillion, especially if they end up selling it for 100, which I don't think they're going to do. And I really hope they don't, because that's going to be the worst thing ever in gaming. Like, we've already gone up from the $60 to $70. It only took like a year and a half for that to end up happening. If they drop GTA for 100, then everybody's like, you know, we haven't talked about it in a minute, but I really hope that doesn't happen. But I'm not really interested in it. I'm sure it'll be great when it comes out. I wasn't the biggest, I'm one of those people that's like, I like GTA 4 more than 5 because I actually like the story a lot. And in GTA 5, there are elements of the story that I like. You know, I like the whole idea of being like, you know, one person thought the other person was dead, but he was actually in hiding. Like, I like that element of the story, and then, you know, things ramp up and get crazy as they do in GTA. But one of the two most memorable things for me when it comes to GTA is the fact that I didn't like any of the music, which of course is just a me thing. But a lot of people felt that way, which is why they literally updated and added more songs to the game, because so many people didn't like what was in there. Like, all I had was up in Party All the Time by Eddie Murphy. So thank God for JB Smooth, because I listened to him on the radio and that was funny. But other than that, the thing that stands out the most for me when it comes to GTA 5 is the fact that they killed the dude from GTA 4, the Lost and Damned DLC. I hated that when I was playing it, and I still hate it to this day. I'm like, I still don't understand. I don't know if that was a character made by somebody at Rockstar that did something horrible, and they were like, F it, we hate you, and we're gonna kill your character off, or what. But I hated that moment in GTA 5 where it's like, they had to make, not only did they kill the character, and they killed the whole effing biker gang, they like character assassinated the dude by making him like a whimpering coward, because Trevor has to be like super special and scary to everybody. And then you literally watch him stomp this dude's head in, and I'm like, I played as this guy in the second or I guess it was the first DLC of GTA 4, and it's like, you made a whole story about him like rising to become the leader of the gang, and like all the crap he had to go through, and all these mechanics with the gang, and all this stuff. And then GTA 5 comes out and it's like, yeah, he's a whimpering coward because Trevor has to be super powerful and scary to everybody. And then he kills him, and then you kill the whole effing gang. And I was pissed. So like, honestly, that's like the main thing that I think of when I think of GTA 5. And obviously that's not the whole game. I still enjoyed it, like I said. And that's not the reason I'm not interested in 6. But that's really what I think about. And the fact that they added a juggalo does not change the fact that they did something I hate. So shout out to the fact that they did that. You know, I can respect that. You know, shout out to Insane Clown Posse. For anyone who's unfamiliar with that, if you've ever heard the meme where people are like, magnets, what do those do? You know, that's from the Insane Clown Posse. That's in one of their songs. And I like them because they rep Detroit. That's why they drink Faygo all the time. So shout out to ICP. But like I said, the fact that they put a juggalo in there does not change the fact that they killed off like the main character of one of the DLC for 4 that I actually really liked. I love the DLC for 4, and I like the story for 4, and maybe because it focuses on one guy, it just feels better, even though you have technically more story, you know, in 5. It just didn't really stand out nearly as much to me. So that's just how I always felt. And of course, it's been like 100 million years because all they did was focus on, you know, making casinos for children, which, you know, we don't have to get into all that. I've talked about that before, but, you know, them doing GTA Online and just not caring. And now we got 6 finally coming out. I do hope it actually comes out this year. It's been delayed two separate times. I hope everyone that wants GTA actually gets it at the end of this year. But I don't really care. I'm sure it'll be great. You know, when it comes out, you know, we'll see what happens. And I'm sure it'll be out for, you know, it'll be the only GTA for 38 years. I'm pretty sure I'll have time to play. But wanted to reference that because, like I said, if I didn't, people would be like, how the F did he not talk about GTA? I just don't care. I genuinely don't. So it'll be what it is when it comes out, and we will see what happens. But getting to the games I'm excited for, of course, we're going to start off from the first game in February, in a month and a half, just about, because I think it might be the end of February if I'm not mistaken. Resident Evil 9 Requiem. I love Resident Evil, as has been clearly stated on this series multiple times. I will always find a way to reference Resident Evil. It is my favorite franchise on the face of this planet, and I am effing excited. I'm not excited for more leaks to come out because that was a huge issue with everything that was happening. There's a bunch of stuff that was wrong, but of course the Leon thing was like the big one. And I was like, I don't want to look into the leaks. I was hoping it wasn't gonna. I was hoping beyond hope that it was not going to be Leon. I like everybody because it's Resident Evil, but I don't want Leon. I wanted Jill. Jill is the character that needs to be in a Resident Evil game. But there have been some theories, once again, based on Leon's trailer, that maybe Sherry is in the game. Maybe that's who was talking to him. I hope that is the case. We need somebody. We need more than just Leon. Like, we need obviously we have Alicia coming back, who may or may not be dead. I hope she's not. But, if we're going to have some people come in. We're talking 30 years of Resident Evil. This is the 30th anniversary Resident Evil game. Everybody should be in it, honestly. At least references. Like, I want to see everybody. I want to hear them talk about characters. I want them to be like, oh yeah, Barry and the girls. Like, if they reference, which they won't do, honestly, but if they referenced Revelations 2, I'd lose my effing mind. Because we need a continuation from that game. And they haven't forgotten, because I still think about the RE3 remake and how they had Alex in there as one of the masterminds. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. But that was like 2020 and we haven't had anything since then. And a lot of people have also referenced the fact that, I can't remember her last name, but the one who played Lady D, her first name's Maggie. A lot of people have referenced, like, when she was in like that white suit, it was like, she looks a lot like Alex Wesker. That's super weird. And she really, really does. It was really interesting. I don't know if that was on purpose or they just put her in a white suit, but it was like, she did look exactly like Alex Wesker. It was super weird. So I don't know if that meant something. We were supposed to be looking into that, but she did look like Alex Wesker. And I'm just saying, if we get some Revelations 2 stuff and they actually finally talk about that, I'll be extremely happy, because that would be super cool for them to actually take that and make it the next direction for the franchise, because then it could go back to kind of the Wesker element. I would love to see it. But we'll see about all that stuff. Either way, regardless of who is or is not in it, I'm excited for Resident Evil 9 because it's the next Resident Evil, and I'm always excited to see what they do. I'm very curious about a lot of things, and I'm avoiding as much as I possibly can. Like, even when new footage comes out, I'm probably not even going to watch it at this point. Like, I know Leon's in it. I'm sure through the grapevine, because I'm always looking at Resident Evil content, something will be shown to me that I probably would prefer to wait for the game. But I'm excited for that. I'm very excited to see what monsters are in there, what new weapons we get. I want to see some unlockables. Like, I want them to make they showed the chainsaw. I want them to make the chainsaw an unlockable weapon. I want that to become like an actual weapon you can get in the game, like the buzzsaw weapon in RE7. Like, I want them to do like some ridiculous stuff. They've been doing good. Well, at least with the first person games, they were doing really good with like just weird unlockable weapons. And then the remakes, it was kind of like, you get the basic stuff. But I want them to do some cool. If you let me use a chainsaw, let me unlock the chainsaw as a permanent weapon. That's what I want. I want some wild stuff in that game. But either way, I'm looking forward to Resident Evil 9, so I'm very excited for that. Moving on, we're going to be sticking with Capcom, because the only other game that I really have like an actual title for going forward throughout the year, or a date for, I should say, is Pragmata. I mentioned this before. Also, I talked about it in the Game Awards videos that I did. I played the Pragmata demo. It was absolutely amazing. I was like, okay, like, I was already interested in the game, and then I got to play the demo, and I was like, yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with this. I'm excited for that. I cannot wait for that game to come out. And I'm looking forward to whatever the console demo is going to be. I'm hoping it's a different demo so you can play somewhere else throughout the game. So that'll be super cool too. I hope that's the case, but even if it's not, the demo is great. So if you haven't played it or you don't have a PC, definitely when that demo comes out on console, definitely pick that up. So I'm looking forward to that. I think they said the game's going to be, it's not going to be like a $70 game. I think it's actually going to be like $60 or something. It might even be 50. Like, I heard it and I was like, oh, that's kind of like, it's something crazy. But they also kind of did that for, Kunitsugami, Path of the Goddess, which is also really good. I played the demo of that, and it's kind of a RTS sort of situation. And I was like, you know what? It's one of those things where I'm like, some things I avoid because I know I'll end up liking them. That's why I tend not to play. Like, I can't play World of Warcraft because I'm like, somehow I'll be interested in that, and that's just not going to work for my life. But I played the Kunitsugami demo, and I was like, this is actually really, really fun. Also, the game, of course, has a photo mode, so obviously that's a little bonus for me. But I really enjoyed that game. At some point, I will end up picking that up, but of course, that's a backlog situation where I got a million things I already need to play, so that's a way down the line type of thing. I will end up playing that game. But I really enjoyed that demo, and that was a cheaper game as well. So they're in that era of, with all the crazy money they're making by constantly succeeding with the Resident Evil games, Street Fighter, of course. And now it's like, hey, we're bringing back Onimusha. We're doing a new game with Pragmata. We're making that a little bit cheaper. Exoprimal didn't exactly work, and the non-Dino Crisis game, it didn't do what it, I'm sure they wanted it to do. But they're in this era where they're making enough money that they can do some experimenting, and I think Pragmata is really fun, and I'm hoping that it feels fun the whole way through. So I'm looking forward to that. Of course, sticking again with Capcom, the third game from them that's going to be coming out this year, Onimusha. Onimusha making a comeback is crazy. I really need a demo for that one because it's one of those things, and people have said this. I remember when the demos were first coming out at the events and everything, and people were saying this, like, when you look at it, it looks a little bit slower, but it's one of those games where it's like, once you get your hands on it, and you'll see, like, okay, now you get a feel for it, like, because some games are definitely like that, where it's like, oh, this doesn't really look like the coolest thing ever, and it's like, once you're the one controlling it, it's a million times different. So I'm hoping we get a good demo for that one, and I'm still looking forward to it regardless. But that's the one where I'm like, Pragmata was a little bit different, where I was already like, I feel like I'm super invested in this. And then Onimusha was the one where I was like, okay, because it's such a different reboot and stuff like that. It's not Samanosuke coming back or them doing something else with that, which I would love if they did like a full-on remake of the original Onimusha games. That'd be super cool. I know they did the remasters and stuff, but it would be sick if they did like straight up remakes of those games. That'd be sick. But I'm definitely looking forward to Onimusha. Odds are I'm gonna end up getting it. I don't know if it'll be a day one situation, especially because I got like 5 games this year. Like last year was Ghost of Yotei. Other than that, I didn't buy anything. And then this year it's like, oh crap, like Resident Evil's guaranteed, Pragmata is now guaranteed. Other games we're about to talk about are guaranteed, and Onimusha is that one where it's like, it's probably guaranteed if I'm being totally honest, but I do want a demo just to check it out. But going on to the next guaranteed game, Control Resonant. If you are unfamiliar with my channel and you don't know me like that, I will always sneak in Resident Evil. That's my thing. Like I said, it's my favorite franchise on planet Earth. But Remedy is my favorite developer in all of gaming. I love Alan Wake. I say this all the time, play Alan Wake. I probably haven't said that in a hot minute, but play Alan Wake. It's really effing good. I was super happy when Alan Wake 2 came out and everybody was like, holy crap, this is awesome. Like, this is Alan Wake. It's like, yes, for 13 years, yes. Alan Wake is effing amazing. Remedy is effing amazing. They have been forever because, of course, at this point, it's more modern stuff, so people are like, oh, Alan Wake and Alan Wake 2 in Control. But Remedy is Max Payne. From back in the day, we've all liked Remedy for a super long effing time. It was just, when Max Payne came out, it was like, oh, you like Max Payne? We didn't talk as much about developers, and that was during the era where it's like, you don't really even think about voice actors and stuff. We're like much more in tune with the behind the scenes stuff. At least I am, nerds like me. So we talk about that stuff a lot more. We actually recognize the developers. We know like the names of developers, like when the PS2 was coming out, there were some people, of course, back in the day that were doing reviews and stuff like that would be like, hey, it's Remedy, and knowing certain names, people would probably know Sam Lake, people would know people like, Ted Price from Insomniac and stuff like that. But it was a lot less common back then, and now it's like, hey, we have faces for companies and stuff like that. So, I've always been a Remedy guy, from the Max Payne days, and then Alan Wake was just like, holy crap, I love this effing game. So, cannot wait for Control Resonant because I love Control. Everything that Remedy does, I end up loving. So I'm extremely excited for that. That was like 100%. And then they were like 2026. I was like, guaranteed that's on the list. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I'm getting that day one, and I'm probably going to take some time off work. I'm going to probably have to really make some decisions with that because I'm taking off work for Resident Evil. That's a guarantee. And I'm probably taking off work. I'm definitely taking off for Control. I might take off for Pragmata. That's, we don't know about that. But all those games, I cannot wait to play. And then there's one more game that I know for sure is coming out this year, unless it gets delayed, which would be absolutely devastating, and that is Wolverine. Wolverine, I've been waiting for. I love the Spider-Man games. All the costumes, best photo. Honestly, like probably one of the best photo modes in games. Like that's a huge thing for me. I cannot wait for Wolverine. My 2 favorite comic book characters are Spider-Man and Wolverine. For very different reasons, of course, because Spider-Man doesn't typically go around chopping people's heads off, but you get the cool, swinging around and being a cool, happy hero with Spider-Man, and then Wolverine is like on the other side of the spectrum, where he's still a good guy, but he murders people a lot. And he was definitely that first character where, that's how I discovered, the whole anti-hero thing, as we call it. That Wolverine was that first character, which is why I liked him so much. So it was before the X-Men movies. It was just the fact that it was like, oh, hero, you can make a hero that actually kills the bad guys. Like, oh, that's fascinating. That's an interesting, that was like an evolution of writing that I just like. Wolverine was the character that made me comprehend that. And it was like, huh. So that's why I've always liked Wolverine, because he was like the first character that I ever saw that with. So that's a big thing for me as far as like just in the realm of writing. Finding that out through that character is what makes me attached to him so much. So Spider-Man and Wolverine are the two guys for me. And I cannot wait for this game. Like, it is gonna be so gory and crazy. And like if you saw the trailer, you saw how visceral they got with it. I'm excited. And I'm super excited for the costumes, because Wolverine has a billion costumes. We're gonna have like all the cool stuff. He's gonna have like his armored outfit that they have in the game. He's gonna of course have the classic blue and yellow. He might have like 3 or 4 versions of the blue and yellow, because technically he does in the in the comic books. So I'm very excited for that. Like, I don't know if they're gonna do, they can't go backwards, so they have to do it now, because they did it in Spider-Man, where it's like, hey, here's a costume, and also we made like 4 different colors for every costume. So they, it's gonna be a lot of variation for Wolverine, and I am super excited for that game. So I'm looking forward to Wolverine for, I basically only mentioned the costumes, but of course I'm excited for the gameplay. I'm excited for the gameplay. I'm curious what the story is. We're going to Madripoor. That's going to be sick. Omega Red is in the game. That is a huge deal. Like, I know, people that don't really, like, aren't in the comics and stuff like that. Omega Red is like a really big deal. Like, Omega Red is serious. So Omega Red is in it, and I'm telling you, Sabretooth has to be in this game. If I'm not mistaken, we only got Omega Red and Mystique. Those are the 2 characters that we've seen where it's like, hey, here are like, comic characters that you're familiar with. And there's been, there's leaks and rumors, so it's been said that Jean Grey is in the game. I'm not sure if that's 100% confirmed or not, but I think that came from like the old leaks from back in the day. So that might be confirmed. That might be for real. I never really looked into it, but she's probably in there somewhere. All I need is Sabretooth. I'm dead serious. Like, if you don't know Sabretooth, I'm telling, like, you've seen him in the movies. That garbage. That's nothing. That is nothing compared to Sabretooth. Sabretooth is one of those characters where it's like, if they do it right, it'll be one of the craziest things people have ever experienced in a game. Like, Sabretooth is, he's psychotic. He's truly psychotic. Like, X-Men Origins Wolverine is like, oh yeah, he's like the bad guy to Wolverine's like anti-hero guy. No, Sabretooth is so crazy that he kills Wolverine just because he can, because obviously, that's their thing. And he like hunts him down for his birthday, and he like kills people. I think the most recent time was like the craziest one. And he just killed a bunch of people. And then he put their body parts together to spell out happy birthday for Wolverine. That's Sabretooth. That's the type of crazy stuff Sabretooth can do. I remember reading the old comic, and it was like four pages. It was one of those things where they would just put a random short story in the back. And I'm reading this comic, and I'm like, oh, a little Wolverine short story. The short story was how Wolverine was like standing by the water or something, and Sabretooth just popped out the water and pulled him under and ripped his throat out and killed him underwater. And then he just left. He was like, he got me. It was just like they just put like a little tick on the wall. It was like, yeah, he got me. He ripped my throat out underwater. Shucks. I was like, this is insane. Like, that was crazy. And it was like it was one of those little short stories in the back. And I was like, this is really serious. Like, he dragged Wolverine underwater, ripped his throat out, and was like, gotcha, and then just left. And I was like, yeah, I think that's when I really understood Sabretooth a lot better. I was like, oh, I didn't know he was like that. Like, him and Carnage need to have like some serious stuff where you get to see how bad they are, because people don't understand how deadly they truly are. And you got to read the comics to get some of that stuff. So I'm hoping, like, Sabretooth has to be in it. It's Sabretooth. He has to be in the game. If they did Omega Red, which is like personal opinion, I consider Omega Red to be like the number 2. Sabretooth is number 1. It's like, when it comes to enemies of Wolverine in my head, Sabretooth, Omega Red, and then I would put Silver Samurai third because of, obviously everything with Wolverine, going to Japan and all that stuff. So I consider him to be like number 3, but those are the big 3. And if you got Omega Red, you have to have Sabretooth. You have to. So I'm hoping Sabretooth pops up. I would be very excited for that. They wouldn't do it because, of course, that's a Spider-Man thing, but if they wanted to go as dark as they could with Carnage, he'd have to be in Wolverine's game, because they couldn't do the M-rated stuff that they probably should do for Carnage. So that's unfortunate, but they could if they wanted to. But he won't pop up. That would be crazy. But I'm very excited for Wolverine. I cannot wait to play that game. I can't wait to mess around with the photo mode. It's gonna be hard to post those pictures because I'm gonna be using a lot of like the bloody stuff. It's like when I do Resident Evil, I'm like, this is really gory. I don't know how many people are gonna be able to handle seeing some of the pictures I've taken. So I'm looking forward to it. I'll get some happy pictures in there somehow. But I'm very excited for Wolverine. We've been waiting for that game for an eternity. I'm really looking forward to it. So Wolverine, Control 2, Resident Evil, of course, being the closest one. I was about to say most recent one, but the closest one, Resident Evil, and then Pragmata and Animusha are definitely the games. Those are all the games I'm looking forward to for 2026. I'm sure there's some other things that I probably forgot about. I'm sure we're gonna get some shadow drops. I'm hoping that Bethesda gets their crap together, and before February, before season 2 of Fallout ends, I'm hoping we get the Fallout 3 remake. And like everyone has said, who's a giant nerd about it, of course, they were screwing up. They really should have dropped the 3 remake when the first season came out. They should have had the confidence in that to be like, hey, we should probably remaster or fully remake, or like the Oblivion remake. We should remake Fallout 3 and put that out with the first season of the show, because now it's going to be weird because they're in New Vegas, but they're not going to redo New Vegas before redoing Fallout 3, so it's going to come out weird. It's not going to matter because it's going to be Fallout 3 and people are going to buy the effing game. But yeah, they were screwing up there. So I'm hoping we get a nice shadow drop of one of the Fallout games. It doesn't matter which one, but it'll most likely be 3 before it's New Vegas because you just go in order. But I'm hoping we get a shadow drop remaster or remake for one of the Fallout games. That would be absolutely amazing, hopefully, because it's Bethesda and they do dumb stuff and they mess up their games, and it just, the things they do are really stupid sometimes, oftentimes, if I'm being totally honest, and that's unfortunate. But I hope we get a nice shadow drop. I hope we get some cool shadow drops in general throughout the year. But as of now, those are the games I'm looking forward to for 2026. I would love to know yours. What else is coming out that I didn't mention? What are some of the smaller games? I'm sure there's tons of indie games coming out that are scheduled for release this year. I would love to know what you guys are looking forward to. Heck, if there are any games that you're like, hey, this is technically from 2-3 years ago. I mean, we all got a backlog. I still need to play Sekiro. I haven't played that game yet. So there are definitely games of 2026 where it's like, I'm looking forward to this game that came out, 2 or 3 years ago. So if you got any of those, the backlog stuff, definitely let me know. Put that down in the comment section as well. But we'll love to hear from you guys, what you guys are looking forward to in 2026, what you hope to be your game of the year, all that good stuff. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.